To acquire balance means to achieve that happy medium between the minimum and the maximum that represents your optimum. The minimum is the least you can get by with. The maximum is the most you're capable of. The optimum is the amount or degree of anything that is most favorable towards the ends you desire. Those are the words of Speaker Nito Cobain and president of High Point University. Balance, a state of equilibrium, equal distribution of weight or amount. The opposite would be imbalance or instability. For the leader, balance applies in three ways: self, focus, and others. The self part is the balance we normally think of, and that harmonious coexistence of family, work, recreation, and other important facets of our lives. And when we give a disproportionate amount of attention to one area, our overall balance is at risk. If you are an entrepreneur, the distinction between work and home is often murky. The smartphone has aided in the decline of personal time for many managers. Intense competition and a 24/7 approach to business means work often eclipses everything, including family. I think that in the short run, balance is nearly impossible, but in the long term, it's essential. When I was getting my MBA while working full-time, I wasn't able to spend as much time with my family or exercising for my health. That 2-year period was out of balance for me on a personal level. But since then, I've been more able to devote much more time to both my family and my workout regimen. Things are back in balance, and for the long term, I'm okay. Then again, I may have a major project due to a client. You may have a bid, an estimate, a closeout, and that will take up more time, temporarily skewing your balance. This is why I calculate balance on a quarterly scale. Day to day, too many imbalances exist. In fact, research by Roberts and Friend indicated that middle managers whose careers are flourishing are 53% more likely to engage in healthy lifestyle habits than those whose careers have stalled. Sales consultant and speaker Bill Brooks wrote, "Time on means time off. It is difficult to perform at peak levels if you are tired or dulled by overwork." With our life balanced as best we can presently make it, we turn to balance of focus. People in impact positions often function as leaders and managers. Each of us has our preferences and strengths and a comfort zone we like to operate in. But the most successful leaders know the difference between leading and managing and are able to shift roles quickly. Former CEO of Walmart, Lee Scott, points out, "There's so much said today about leadership, but I don't think in business you can forget the fact that you don't just have to lead, you have to manage." Balance of focus says we know what to do and when to do it. Balance with others is about operating fairly. The people you lead do not expect equal treatment. They generally understand and accept the nuances and accommodations made for people if this approach is applied to everyone you lead. But if one person is always permitted to leave early because of personnel issues or personal issues, resentment will build. If all are permitted, when necessary, to adjust work hours to meet a personal need, this will be perceived as fair, as balanced. Does one person always get the great assignments while another always gets the dogs? If these employees are comparable in ability and performance, this will be perceived as unfair and unbalanced. Balance applies in praise and critique also. Notice we are not talking about giving equal measures of both, but about giving each as necessary. Some bosses think praising a worker is coddling. Others think critiquing is confrontational. Both of these perspectives are wrong. The right approach is the balanced one. We must also acknowledge the importance of fostering balance in your employees. While it is not your primary responsibility to ensure balance in their lives, it is safe to say that if you don't pay attention to it, your primary job will be negatively impacted. In 1971, about 15% of Marines were married. Today, that number is over 50%. And General James T. Conway stated, "We believe you recruit a Marine, but you retain a family." Dan Braun, the now retired Vice President of HR of Colas North America, was quick to recognize this also. At the end of any multi-day training program we did together, he delivered closing comments. And he always told the students to thank their families. He knew what General Conway knew, that families may be tired, but they appreciate being acknowledged. So how do you know if you're in balance? Deep down, you probably already know, but ask someone you trust for an honest opinion. Also, do you have goals set in all areas of your life? Are you making progress toward them on a regular basis? There are things I want to achieve in the physical, spiritual, family, career, financial, social, and mental compartments of my life. So I set annual goals. I check my progress quarterly. Some would advocate monthly, and adjust as necessary to maintain progress in all areas. A vivid picture in your mind of a balanced future is the best way to create balance now. Brigham Young said, "Life is best enjoyed when time periods are evenly divided between labor, sleep, and recreation." All people should spend 1/3 of their time in recreation, which is rebuilding, voluntary activity. Never idleness. All right, we've had some content. I'm going to tell you a story about Hill and Wilkinson in a minute, but how do you jumpstart your balance? Say no. You can't have balance if you have too many things on your things to do list. Keep a food log for 1 week. Track your mood along with that and make adjustments as needed. Get the right amount of sleep. As a nation, we are sleep deprived. Work on your marriage or other important relationships. Create and refer to your time log and analyze what you should be doing versus what you really are doing. If you need a copy of a blank time log, just email us and we'll send it to you. And read The Long Life Equation. Let's take a look at balance in action. It was the middle of the construction boom of the early 2000s, and Hill and Wilkinson, a then $270 million general contractor in the Dallas area, was seeing decreasing scores on employee satisfaction surveys. This was particularly true in employees with less than 5 years experience. They were pointing out how long hours were a problem. Now, there is no doubt construction is known for long hours, but these employees were saying enough is enough. With clear recognition that work hours were a problem, the company turned to its employees for ideas on how to correct the situation. The first thing was to conduct training for senior managers about the importance of balance and the impact their behavior had on employees. When senior managers put in long hours, it prompted junior employees to put in long hours. Seeing this, senior managers would then visit with employees, especially on late nights, and tell them to go home. But then the senior manager often stayed and continued working. Junior employees heard one message, go home. But they saw another, stay and work. Senior managers finally had to practice what they preached and leave at a decent hour also. This simple change gave permission to others to manage their time. At the project level, adjustments were made also, but the solution was left to the teams. One team found a way to work 4 10-hour shifts, while another found a way to have team members rotate through having Friday off. What they discovered was that when employees found better balance in their lives, their job satisfaction increased. In fact, the Dallas Business Journal selected Hill and Wilkinson as one of the best places to work in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And research by the Great Place to Work Institute confirms that companies creating a great place to work enjoy better financial performance than those who don't. Hill and Wilkinson remains an industry leader because of its commitment to employees. Well, education without application is a waste of time, so let's think about balance a little bit, and hopefully you have a journal to write some of these things down. Write your own definition of balance. List someone you know who exemplifies this trait, and why did you write them down? What specific things do they do that cause you to write that down? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate on this trait? Consider these major areas that might be important to you: family, career, financial, fitness, faith. In each of these, how satisfied are you? Again, family, career, financial, fitness, faith, etc. What other ones matter to you? And it's a phrase you're going to hear from time to time as we go through this study together. What one thing will you do to improve in this area?